Good Monday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to tonight's top stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window from today. Boy, this is what it looks like from everyone's weather window right now in north central Washington. This is our Cougar Ridge Sky-Fi Tower camera looking at Wenatchee. You can't see a whole lot of it though, can you? You can barely see the Columbia River. And then just a lot of haze and smoke. And boy, we have been seeing that throughout the weekend too. And we're going to see a warm week. It's going to feel more like summer than it is in October. We're going to see highs in the mid 70s to low 80s, lows in the 50s. Light wind, and if we do see some sunshine, it will be mostly sunny through this smoke. But unfortunately, yeah, we're going to continue to see smoke. I think our worst air quality will be in our morning hours. Things will get a little bit better during the afternoon, and then the smoke will come back in again overnight and into those morning hours. We'll talk more about warm weather and smoke a little bit later on. And now a few of the news stories we're following for you tonight. Activity from the Bolt Creek fire continues to affect travel on U.S. Highway 2, but there have been no large-scale closures since the highway was reopened last Thursday. A charge of violating a protective order has multiplied problems for an East Wenatchee man who was previously convicted of a sex crime. And the Wenatchee Valley's new unified fire district responded to its first blaze on Friday. But first, our top story tonight, air quality in the Wenatchee Valley continued to be unhealthy today as unseasonably warm weather made for extra smoke being generated from fires burning in our region. By 10 a.m. today, Department of Ecology was measuring unhealthy air for Wenatchee, Cashmere, and Leavenworth. Much of the smoke is coming from three major fires burning above Lake Wenatchee. The incident management team on the fires also conducted fire operations yesterday that likely added to the smoke. The team said because of the warmer weather, smoke is likely to increase throughout the week, as we mentioned, though it could drift to the northwest at times instead of into the Wenatchee Valley. Well, activity from the Bolt Creek fire continues to affect travel on U.S. Highway 2, but there have been no large-scale closures since the highway was reopened last Thursday. Fire managers closed the highway for an hour this morning near the Money Creek Tunnel while a hazardous tree was removed. On Sunday, rolling debris from the fire forced a temporary detour through downtown Skycomish. Fire managers said infrequent and short closures will likely continue this week. The highway linking the east and west has experienced two extended closures since that fire was first reported September 10th outside Skycomish. The fire has burned 12,486 acres and was 36% contained as of this morning. A charge of violating a protective order has multiplied problems for an East Wenatchee man who was previously convicted of a sex offense. 33-year-old Victor Daniel Dominguez was already charged with theft and felony harassment against a former girlfriend when he allegedly drove past her Wenatchee home repeatedly and said hello to her. Police say that was a violation of a protective order and got a warrant for Dominguez's arrest. Around the same time, sheriff's deputies learned Dominguez had moved without registering with either the Douglas or Chelan County sheriff's offices. He's required to register due to a 2005 conviction for assault with sexual motivation. Dominguez is free on $10,000 bond and scheduled for arraignment next week. The Wenatchee Valley's new unified fire district responded to its first blaze on Friday, a minor trash fire outside the former Wenatchee City Jail. Back in August, voters approved the merger of Chelan County Fire District 1 and Douglas County Fire District 2 into the Wenatchee Valley Fire Department. The new agency went into effect September 30th, and its firefighters quickly extinguished a fire in the yard of the old jail at Wenatchee Avenue and Kittitas Street, which broke out shortly before 2 p.m. That historic building functioned as Wenatchee's jail from 1906 to 1924. It's been derelict and uninhabited for about the last 50 years. Well, when we come back, Washington will have the country's highest minimum wage starting in January. Whether the Sonic restaurant in Wenatchee will ever reopen is uncertain after the owner of the franchise filed for bankruptcy just before a court order shut down their 10 Sonic restaurants in Washington. People will have an opportunity to comment on a series of forest projects proposed in Okanogan County at an October 17th meeting in Wenatchee. And U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is scheduled to visit the Wenatchee area later this week. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
To understand someone better, walk a mile in their shoes. Or ride along in their patrol car. That's what I do with local police officers here in Washington. To hear their concerns firsthand, then fight for them in Congress. It's why I got police more funding for bulletproof vests and body cameras, and more mental health officers so cops can stay focused on fighting crime. I'm Kim Schreier, and I approve this message because our local police deserve our support.
Introducing Alpine Airman. Because every home needs a superhero to eliminate poor indoor air quality, send inefficient operating equipment packing, and cut high energy bills down to size. For heating or cooling and equipment replacement, turn to the experts and the superheroes at Carrier and Alpine Air. We offer the best deals on high-efficiency Carrier products, along with friendly, knowledgeable service and incredible savings to fit your budget.
Welcome back. In another news, Washington will have the country's highest minimum wage starting in January at $15.74 an hour. The State Department of Labor and Industries announced Friday the basic wage will go up by $1.25, an increase that's directly related to the rising costs of housing, food, medical care, and other requirements of life. Only Washington, D.C. will have a higher minimum pay rate. The next highest minimum wage is found in California, rising to $15.50 next year. Well, whether the Sonic restaurant in Wenatchee will ever reopen is uncertain after the owner of the franchise filed for bankruptcy just before a court order shut down their 10 Sonic restaurants in Washington and Oregon. The Wenatchee Sonic closed at the end of August after the Poulsbo-based franchise owner Olympic Cascade Drive-Ins reportedly failed to pay $2.7 million in royalties and franchise fees covering more than a year. In court filings, Sonic accused Olympic Cascade Drive-Ins of continuing to operate after having its franchise terminated in May. During that time, Sonic claims there were reports of serious quality control problems, including multiple reports of serving raw or undercooked chicken or beef, rancid drinks and shakes, and hair, gnats, and mildew in food. On August 24th, a federal judge ordered the restaurant shut down 2 days after Olympics Cascade Drive-Ins filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Well, people will have an opportunity to comment on a series of forest projects proposed in Okanogan County at an October 17th meeting in Wenatchee. The Resource Advisory Committee for the Okanogan-Wenatchee National Forest is considering 13 projects to benefit watersheds and other forest-related projects. 4 of those projects are proposed by the Forest Service and 9 by the other organizations. They include noxious weed control and trail reconstruction work and will be funded through the Secure Rural Schools program. The meeting will be at the Confluence Technology Center in Old Station beginning at 9 a.m. and running until about 2 p.m. Well, U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is scheduled to visit the Wenatchee area this week. The former presidential candidate, who now serves in the Biden administration, is expected to highlight federal investments in local transportation projects made possible by the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure law that passed last year. The visit was announced today by the Department of Transportation, with details still to come. The agency says Buttigieg will also visit the Seattle area during his trip, scheduled to take place on Thursday and Friday. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
I'm John Divis from Wenatchee Dental Arts, and I like to think myself as a comprehensive dentist. We are an office that treats people comprehensively for their dental problems. We do a lot of general dentistry in a broad sense. We don't send everything out. Things that we have the ability to do in the office, we like to keep in the office and under one roof and keep things as complication-free as possible. You can come to one place and have all their dental needs taken care of.
Chelan County is a great place to live. Let's keep it that way. Sean Smith here, and as a business owner, father of 4, and lifetime resident, I'm truly concerned about the changes I see coming in our county. As your next county commissioner, I will work diligently with every agency, our state legislators, and law enforcement teams to make sure we don't lose the quality of life we have come to appreciate. There's a lot more than simply planning and community development to be concerned about, and I am ready, willing, and capable of doing it all for you. I ask for your vote.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. In tonight's feature story, a Chelan County District Court judge who served since 2019 will leave the bench later this year. Judge Kyle Mott told Chelan County Commissioners on Friday that he'll join a local law firm effective December 5th. The district court's other judge, Roy Four, is also retiring, and his seat is up for election in November. However, Mott's interim replacement will be selected by the commissioners.
So he will be resigning his position as a district court judge effective as of December 5th, which means that we need to develop a process with regards to basically appointing a new district court judge, which falls on the legislative body by RCW 3.34.100. And so I had a little chance to review all that information this morning in preparation for this. And so we need to discuss our process. And so I've been thinking about this. Well, I'd like to reach out to the Bar Association, utilizing their listserv to send information out to all the folks that are a member of the Bar Association that this position is available and that we accept applications for the position until October 28th, which is Friday, October 28th would be the close of business. Would be my recommendation, and we'll have those applications sent to Kathy. She can collect those on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners as the county administrator. And then we as the board will look at those applications the week of the 31st and vet those applications out to get to a top 3. And then we conduct interviews the week of November 7th. With the idea of potentially making the appointment the week of November 14th.
Okay.
Does that sound like a process that you guys can get behind? And do you have any questions or concerns about that process?
No, seems pretty straightforward there.
Okay.
I like that approach. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that we have an election for an open position that will happen, but that election has nothing to do with the appointment of this position.
Regardless.
So, we'll take a look at all applicants and see who the best 3 are that, that we feel need to be moved forward for consideration for a interview process.
Let's take a look now at your north central Washington weather forecast. Hope you all had a great weekend. It looked kind of like this, maybe not this bad. This is up in Lake Wenatchee. Yes, Kaler Glen Golf Course is about right here, so the lake will pretend it's right in here, and the mountains, of course, in the background. Yeah, that's Lake Wenatchee. Can't see anything up that way, and we've got it pretty bad down our way, too, with unhealthy air for most of us today. We did manage to get up to 78 degrees this afternoon, and that's well above where we should be for this time of year at 69. 83 is our record high. That was set in 1988. 55 our low this morning. 46 is normal, and our record not too long ago, 35, and that was set in 2018. Sun came up this morning at 7:03 and sets tonight at 6:36. Let's take a look at your Tuesday temperatures, and I'll tell you what, folks, I think I said last Friday a boringly great forecast, and that's what we're going to see through this entire week. Temperatures are going to remain pretty much like this. That's our highs tomorrow, low 80s for most of us. Going to stay like that pretty much throughout the rest of the week with that little bit of smoke. Cool spot, Lake Wenatchee at 75. Warm spot on our map, Omak tomorrow at 83 degrees. Taking a look at tonight, we'll see hazy skies as high pressure continues to bring those northwesterly winds our way. And boy, with the fires about there in Wenatchee in the center of the state, that smoke coming right at us. Tuesday, mostly sunny by afternoon. At least we're hoping for that. Some morning haze once again with highs, as we just talked about, in the lower 80s for us tomorrow. Getting you into midweek Wednesday, we're not going to see much of a change. Still this ridge up and over the Pacific Northwest. Morning haze and smoke giving way to a little more sunshine in the afternoon on Wednesday. Same goes for Thursday as high pressure remains anchored over the Pacific Northwest. Highs in the low 80s. For Friday, warm from north central Washington and into the eastern part of the state for Friday. We will see high temperatures again in the lower 80s, which will be 10 to 15 degrees above where we should be. Unseasonably warm, wouldn't you know it, as we head into the upcoming weekend. Sunny, I don't think we'll see as much haze as we get into the weekend. High temperatures Saturday, lower 80s, and at the end of our forecast, still warm out there with mostly sunny skies Sunday. High temperatures again in those low 80s. Let's take a look at that 7-day forecast. 57 overnight tonight. Haze throughout the week, and we're going to see temperatures very consistent. 82 and 83 degrees during the week. And as we get into the upcoming weekend, it looks beautiful. Saturday and Sunday should get rid of a lot of this smoke and haze. Sunny skies then. 83 Saturday and 82 your high temperature on Sunday. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
As nature does its magical change from the green of summer to the orange and red of fall, camping in your old tent isn't going to cut it anymore. It's time for you to get a great deal on a motorhome, travel trailer, or fifth wheel from Click It RV during our year-end clearance events. We need to make room for our 2023 models. Get 30% off, 0 down, no payments for 90 days, and receive a lifetime warranty. Come visit us today off I-90 in Moses Lake and see big savings at Click It RV.
Hi folks, welcome to Save Mart. How can we help you today?
We're looking for a recliner.
Okay, right this way. Go ahead and move this chase on the other side. You can use this lifetime warranty.
Great, I want that one. I like that one.
That's a great choice.
And I want this one as well.
Okay.
And I definitely want this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
When your heating or cooling system is giving you trouble, call the diagnostic doctor from Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Here's the culprit right here.
All joking aside, when you call Dick's, you're calling 35 years of experience at customer service right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's strongly believes in repairing before replacing, and they service all major brands of HVAC units. And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Monday to you. Friday night was a magical night for Mariner fans as Seattle qualified for the playoffs for the first time in 21 years with a dramatic walk-off win over Oakland.
Two-pitch swing and a drive, deep to right field, stay fair. Holy smokes, he did it! Off the hit in Air Cafe. Cal Raleigh with a walk-off home run. How sweet it is! The Mariners end the 20-year drought on a walk-off home run by Cal Raleigh. They win the ball game 2-1, and the Mariners are going to the playoffs.
This has been some kind of season. It has been a long time. Thank you to everybody that is here tonight and every Mariners fan in the Pacific Northwest. You brought the electricity tonight to this building, and it was unbelievable. You have made a difference with this team, and I thank you.
Oh, the celebration went on into the night on Friday. Why the goggles, you ask? Well, if you've never had champagne accidentally get in your eye, it stings like crazy, so that's why the goggles. Seattle won Friday, they won Saturday before falling to Oakland yesterday, 10-3. Mariners will be in the playoffs starting this Friday, but they have 4 more games remaining on the schedule, starting tonight with Detroit in town. It's on Root Sports Northwest. Baltimore was eliminated over the weekend, so it's between Seattle, Toronto, and Tampa Bay for the 3 wildcard spots. Toronto has opened up a 2.5-game lead over Seattle for the top spots. The Mariners lead the Rays by a game and a half. Seattle has 4 games against Detroit, while Tampa Bay has 3 in Boston and Toronto 3 in Baltimore. So there's still a chance for Seattle to catch the Blue Jays and host a best-of-3 wildcard playoff starting on Friday. Well, after a night game tonight, Seattle and Detroit play a doubleheader tomorrow afternoon and finish with a day game coming up on Wednesday. Well, Sunnyside, you got a little peek there. Sunnyside's tandem of Brent Maldonado and Noah McNair were too much for Eastmont on Friday night as the Grizzlies spoiled the Wildcats' homecoming 35-20. Colby King and Austin Ruffins made a game of it with 3 touchdown runs in the first half. There you see one of which. But they just could not match Maldonado and McNair, who connected on 3 touchdowns on the night as Sunnyside improved to 2-0 in Big 9 play. Eastmont committed just too many penalties. Luke Gale intercepted twice to drop to 2-1 in the Big 9. Also on Big 9 action Friday, Moses Lake's Joel Middleton filled in for injured quarterback Brock Clark and threw 2 touchdown passes. The Mavericks beat Wenatchee 28-7. Kyson Thomas had a 46-yard punt return touchdown, caught a 23-yard touchdown pass, ran for a 54-yard score. Moses Lake victory. They also remain unbeaten in Big 9 play. Ike beat Davis 21-7. West Valley won a barn burner non-league contest at Hermiston 49-42. Caribou Trail League play. Cascade remained unbeaten this season with a 42-7 win over Quincy. Cashmere won a non-leaguer in Ephrata 30-15. Omak topped Chelan 39-20. B-League football Friday night. Aniat shut out Yakima Tribal 56-zip. It was Okanagan over Oroville 62-6. Manson topped Tabasco 20-14. Waterville Mansfield celebrated homecoming with a 60-12 win over Soap Lake, and Brewster came from behind to beat Lake Roosevelt 14-13. Now coming up this week, we'll be at Leiboftel Field of the Apple Bowl on Friday. Wenatchee hosting Ellensburg. Join Grant and me for the pregame at 6:30 here on the NCWLIFE channel. Well, turning to high school soccer on Saturday, Wenatchee defended its home field with a 4-0 win over Moses Lake. I joined Sebastian Moraga with a call here on the NCWLIFE channel.
Davidson getting the left foot ready instead. The touch. Viene. Goal. Goal for the Wenatchee Panthers. Looks like Grace Coons from up here. Good give and go. Hurst, a nice through ball that time into the box. Right side, right-footed shot. Goal. Piper Davidson with a beauty. Great shot across and a couple of unlucky bounces. And just like that, it's 3-0 Wenatchee. Davidson, the good through ball that time for Coons. Coons into the box, the shot, Coons, goal! And there's the whistle that indicates that this contest is over, with Moses Lake losing to Wenatchee by a tally of 4-0.
Well, he just told us to come out with a lot of intensity. We have been having some trouble kind of in the second half, like staying in the whole game. So he told us just play with intensity and play the simple ball.
It was interesting at halftime. I walked in there in the first 3 or 4 minutes. I just was quiet and listening to them, and they were all talking about the things they weren't doing well. And finally, I said, okay, let's just stop for a minute. Give yourselves a hand. I mean, my gosh, this is great soccer you're playing, these first 20 minutes especially. So, yeah, you know, I think coaches and players sometimes get so focused on the things that maybe they're not doing quite right, and sometimes forget that some things look really good.
Other soccer on Saturday, West Valley blasted Eastmont 8-1. Omak blanked Manson 4-0. Grandview shut down Ephrata 3-1. Mount Vernon Christian topped Tonasket 3-1. And Davenport shut out Brewster 4-0. We'll be back on the pitch Saturday when Eastmont hosts Wenatchee at Wildcat Stadium. I'll have your call 1 o'clock here Saturday on the NCWLIFE channel. Turning to volleyball over the weekend, Quincy topped Madton. East Valley shut out Cascade. Then Cashmere took care of the Red Devils in 3 games. Waterville Mansfield swept Easton. Curlew beat Oroville 3-1. Bridgeport beat Liberty Bell 3-1 as well. Washington lost for the first time during a three-day college football weekend. It began on Friday night. UCLA built a big lead early and held on for a 40-32 win over the 15th-ranked Dogs. On Saturday, Cameron Ward threw for 343 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead Washington State over Cal 28-9. Trajan Henderson rushed for 153 yards and 3 touchdowns to lead Central Washington over Eastern New Mexico 45-17. Despite putting up over 400 yards of offense Sunday, Eastern Washington fell to Florida 52-17. Gators built a 35-3 halftime lead and just never looked back. Well, talking about football, Seattle built a 38-23 lead through 3 quarters Sunday, held on for a 48-45 win over Detroit. Geno Smith led the way, completing 23 of 30 passes for 320 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Rashad Penny broke loose for 151 yards and 2 scores as the Hawks even their record at 2-2.
Geno played spectacular football. Not just the throwing and the catching, but the command of the game and running the whole show. He did an incredible job, and he ran the ball, too, for 50 yards or something. It's a fantastic day. I don't know how you could do a whole lot more and play a whole lot better than that. DK had a great game, making plays and catches. He didn't get in the end zone, but he was moving the football up and down the field. Tyler did his stuff. Really excited to see Penny break out. And when all of that has to happen because the guys up front did a great job. We had no sacks today. We rushed for 230-something. Those guys did a great job.
Yeah, defense not so good. Seahawks were winning, so too were Arizona. Cardinals won over Carolina 26-16 on Sunday. Rams and 49ers are playing tonight on Monday Night Football. That game's underway on ESPN. Finally, the Wenatchee Wild still looking for their first win in BCHL play this season. Despite coming up with 4 goals on consecutive nights, Wenatchee came up short in West Kelowna and Salmon Arm. Warriors came out on top Friday night 7-4, while the Silverbacks prevailed Sunday. Make that Saturday 6-4. Wenatchee's at Trail this Friday and Cranbrook Saturday. Wild's first home game not until 3 weeks from now, October 21st. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Grant, back to you.
And that will do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for being with us and have a great night. News, weather, and sports. It's all here weekdays at 5, 6, and 10 on your local news source, the NCWLIFE channel.
The NCWLIFE channel offers marketing packages that help you build your brand and sell your products and services. From traditional TV ads to targeted digital campaigns, let us help you build your customer base. Call NCWLIFE channel today.
I'm Brian Thorpe, and I'm proud to say that Global Car Care is growing. We always do the right thing, and because of that, we're busy, and it's time to hire an experienced automotive technician. We spend as much time with our coworkers as we do our own family. I want them to understand they're not a number here. They're a person with a family, and I want them to be part of this family too. Do you want an owner that understands and respects what you do every day? I'm that guy. Our compensation is the best in the area. I want you to have your career with us.